I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Hunter, and this is
the Family Showdown! Welcome back, and here we go on the next round of the best games of all time, 2021 version.
According to you.
According to moi. That's right. The definitive authority in all things board game.
Wow.
I'm totally kidding. Totally. Sweet. Never mind. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so today we are going to be talking about 70 through 61.
What?
We are getting to some really good games.
Finally.
We are getting to some heavy hitters, and there's a lot of heavy hitters on this one, I must say. A lot of heavy hitters. Quite tasty, I might add.
Tasty.
Yes, delicioso. But we're not going to start with one of the heavy hitters. We're going to start with the lightest one out of this entire 10, and that is the beautiful number 70. That is
Card box
named Star Realms. Well, yes, this is not what they originally looked like. Well, this part is. This is a card game, and I may or may not have a few expansions, like a lot. There's cards in this box. There's cards separated here. You can almost not get the cards out. They're packed so tightly in here, and a promo card to boot. So, what do you do with this said game besides carry it off quite easily and handily in my nerdy gamer purse? What this is the super easy deck builder game. Like, you have base set you start with, deal out 5 cards. You attack people or you buy things. You buy different kinds of ships or more, and on the ships at the bottom they have like money or abilities, like so, or the really cool ones have a little bit of both, right? They have attack or they have money, they give you things. And there's also different factions, so you get bonuses for those that have factions. Some of them you destroy the card, which means take it out of the game, and they give you a super attack or something like that, or a lot of extra money. Scoop all that up when you're done, let the other person go, and then you deal out 5 again, and you keep going, and you shuffle up if we run out of cards, and keep going. And you start out with 40 hit points, or 50. You can change it. Actually, if you do a quicker game, we've started with like 15 and stuff like that if you do a really super fast game. That's why I don't remember, because it depends on our mood. But you start out with these hit point cards, and every time somebody attacks you, unless you can defend from it, and whoever is the last space group standing is the winner of the game. I basically taught you the game. There's obviously text on the cards because they all do special abilities or they have bonuses off of that. There's expansions that give you events, all sorts of super extra powers, leaderships, gambits.
I think there's one that makes it cooperative.
Yeah.
All sorts of stuff. And
I haven't even gotten all of them. Obviously, I didn't get any of the cooperative stuff because I just like to keep it as a simple little throwdown game. I got enough of the events and the gambits and the leaders and stuff to make it really interesting and mix it up a bit. And I have it set up, as you can see, with my different boxes and separated so I could decide if I wanted to play with those in the game or not. And you just shuffle up and deal. That's the game. I mean, it's nice and easy that way. If an event pops up, you basically stop the world and do the event. That's probably the trickiest thing about the game, honestly. It's fantastic. I love this game. I love to just throw it down. For a while, I even played it on, it's one of the few app games that I own/have owned and will play, because you can just throw it down and it's so much fun. On the app, you can play your own 2-player and play both sides of it and just play double, and it's such a small table space. You can play it anywhere. This is a great little, I call it my little coffee shop game, because you can take it anywhere like that. They have the smaller tables, still can play it, not a problem. It's perfect for that. I love it. It's a great little go-to game. Super fast. Again, you can speed it up by making yourself start with less hit points. Make it a longer epic game. If you have enough hit point cards for it, go crazy. Start at 80 points. Who cares? It's your game. Love it. probably have driven Hunter crazy with this game. He's probably burned out on this game because A, it's awfully light and fluffy for him. He likes heavier games. And B, I will just throw this down pretty much at the drop of a hat. So
I have nothing to say. She just said it all.
I'm sorry, did I take your lines from you?
It's a fine little game. It's a little. I mean, it's just there's not a lot of meat there, in my opinion. But that's one of the benefits.
That's the appeal for me. I don't want a heavy game like this.
It does, as you add more stuff, it gets a little more combos and things and stuff going on, and the leaders adds a whole new aspect to it. Makes it more gamery, but it is just a super kind of bare bones deck building game. So. Which
is great too. It's a great welcoming game for that sort of thing. If you want to start, hooking some of your friends on some of the heavier games and stuff, you might be like, "Hey, want to play Star Realms? Oh, you like this game? Well, it just so happens that I have some other games that do this as well as some other stuff. Just saying." It's a good welcoming game. So you're tricking them into liking these games. It's awesome. This is a great game for that. I love it. But that's Star Realms, my cute little tiny baby game.
I give it
in my specialty box of magicness. All right.
A specialty box of friggin' 50-cent card box.
There was nothing wrong with that. And it's got the cool Star Realms logo on it. And I could bling it out. I could put some
that was my great work.
I know, it was fancy. No, actually I did that one, remember?
Did you?
Yeah. I actually did that one. That's why it's so not fancy, is because I did it. No, you usually bling them out more. That was my work. That was all me.
I thought I did that one.
I really should bedazzle it or something obnoxious. Wouldn't that be great? Star Realms and gemstones on the top.
Oh, dear.
Probably not.
Help me.
Okay, so my number 69 is definitely not a light and fluffy game. That ought to make you happy.
Well,
and
nobody go but up.
You brat. All right, and that is Underwater Cities. Now, this is not what the cover looks like. This is the expansion cover. We just happen to like the art and stuff a little more, so we chose that just to mix things up. Because it's green. We like green. And this game, how long is the play on this? I think this is a 90-minute. Oh, it says 40 minutes per player.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Hour and a half.
So an hour and a half for a two-player. Yeah. So that's about right. And this game is great. I get the Power Grid vibes in it, because in Power Grid, you go around and you build up your cities and then you have to power them. And this one, you have to build your cities and then connect them. And if you get them all connected and everything, you get mad victory points. It's got kind of a longest road kind of thing going on, but it's all underwater. And what's fun with that, I got to show you this because we have some of the fun bits. No, they're right on top. This is super chock full. This with the expansion fills this to the brim. This is without the lid stuff. But the nice version of this, it has the recessed player mat. The cardboard.
Expansion.
Was that in the expansion?
The main selling point of the expansion is the recessed boards.
Yeah, because you can actually not have stuff slide around, and it's so worth it. But it does fill up the boxes. So you have these cute little, I'll just pull one out so you can see it better. Just little domes. Because again, when you build underwater, you've got to keep your atmosphere and everything in there so all of us can breathe. So you put your little dome on there when you've completed your city, and then you keep moving on.
Sound like a kid's toy.
It's amazing. It is a kid's toy. How much do we play with these? They're hard plastic, though. They remind me of those thumb poppers, and you know what I'm talking about? You turn them inside out and stick them here, and they like fly through the air. They look like those, but they're hard plastic. And don't do it. You're gonna flick it, aren't you? This is why we can't have nice things. So, anyways, they're fun to play with. So. So hard to concentrate. Anyway, there's a lot of, again, you get some unique abilities. I believe everybody gets a unique starting power too. It's asymmetrical
stuff.
I want to say there's some starting stuff that's asymmetrical.
There's no starting powers. I don't think so.
There's something that's.
I don't know.
You're not very helpful.
No, what you do get that's asymmetrical is you have some locations on the edges of your board.
That's what it is.
That are unique to you. That if you build out to them, you get those powers.
That's what it is.
It's kind of asymmetrical in that way.
You unlock some really cool superpowers with a lot of victory points if you can get to those. They're hard to get to, though, because they're all on the ends of the board, and it's a long trail of cities to build to get there. But it's got unique card play going on, resource management. It just checks all the boxes of awesomeness, and that is the heavy-duty game that is Underwater Cities. So I'm assuming you like this one a lot, too.
I love this game. It's not one. I have no idea where it falls in my 100, but I do love this game quite a bit. I like the worker placement part. I love the getting the card drafting and building cards, and I like the building out and getting those superpowers. But really what I like is that you're actually developing. I love games where you develop
see
something.
it, right?
And when you're done, you got all these
Absolutely.
domes and all these cool little discs sitting everywhere. And it's like, oh, look what I did. So I like games like that.
It's neat because not only are you building the cities, but they also could produce goods for you too. And so you're making a chain of all these different things. Right. And it looks cool to see the discs all sitting there where you've started to like.
It's very colorful.
Yeah, it's really pretty. And you have a nice finished city when you're done. Yep. Hopefully, unless you did something terrible to your cities. But anyway, it's a super fun game. Got a lot of meat to it. Underwater Cities. That was my 69. My number 68 is another super duper heavy hitter. In fact, it's quite a bit heavier than that one. And that is the monster, the beast that is Yedo. Oh. This game is awesome. It's so not what's typically my wheelhouse. I don't usually like super cutthroaty games, but this is, you're being sneaky ninjas and it's worker placement and you're accomplishing these crazy missions. They could be something from stealing so-and-so's dinner slippers to assassinating the emperor. I mean, you got the whole range, and you get more victory points the harder the task is. But you have to sneak around town, avoid the guard, and avoid your opponents sniping your precious resources or placements from you, because worker placement spots are very tight in this game. And you have to do it in a certain amount of time with your limited space that you can hold all the stuff for your missions to accomplish your missions. And you're, doing sneaky ninja things in the meantime, trying to avoid all these people and penalties and this and that, and losing all your items so you can accomplish the mission. It is great. I love the fact that you can go through and choose. You kind of start with a mix match set of different levels of missions that you need to accomplish. And you can choose to keep doing easier ones until you feel more comfortable with it. Or if you're getting some good combinations, you might start reaching out sooner to get those harder missions, accomplish those. You might even just decide to go completely cutthroat, and you see that somebody's really close to accomplishing one of their missions, and you're like, you know what, there's only one spot open for that. I think I'm going to take it before them so they can't finish it. So amazing. It's got a lot of depth to it. There's a lot of special unique abilities on your own player board. It's got special powers that you can get from building special rooms or buildings, and those are kind of tough to get as well. But they give you great powers if you can get all of them, or get the ones that you need for your whatever you're trying to do. There's a lot of side play like that. You're getting different things for this. You need to get certain weapons. You need to have money, whatever. And the way you go about those is a little bit different sometimes. But meanwhile, every time the guard is moving, but people can do things to trick up the movement of the guard. So you constantly have to be on your guard to be wary of where the guard is. Did I say guard enough? How'd that go? How about now?
On your guard.
I liked it.
It's like something I would say.
I know.
That's why I'm sad because I didn't say it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
All right. So Yedo.
What'd you think?
Oh, I love this game. It's one of my faves. It's
so good.
It's a big, massive, heavy worker placement
game. This is
a
120 plus minute game too.
It's about a 3+ hour game in reality. It really is. With the higher player counts.
Yep.
But yeah, it's great. It's like I said, it's mean. In fact, it's so mean. It adds meanness on top of that because there's events in the game.
Oh, that's right. We took out.
And that's why I was open the box to check. I thought, let's see if we left us a note not to play with the mean events. There is some brutally mean events that you can choose to play with or not. There's kind of I can't remember what the name of it. There's a version that you play with the mean events. There's a version where you don't play with the mean events.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just a great, amazing worker placement game where the game kind of can kick you in the teeth, and the other players, if the game's not kicking you in the teeth, the other players are trying to kick you in the teeth. So it's not a friendly kind of do your own thing and head down where you're putting animeeples and building fences and stuff. This is interactive. You got to watch what your opponent's doing. You got to react to what they're doing. It's a really just amazing. You don't sit still the whole time. You're just like, whoa, and you just take somebody out. Exactly like that. What?
I just took you out.
What?
Okay, maybe you don't because ninjas are sneaky and silent.
What did she just do?
I attacked you.
Oh my goodness! I just got yeetoed.
You got yeetoed.
Anyway, I love it. If you're looking for a heavy, meaty, interactive worker placement game. They recently kickstarted a deluxe version of this.
Nice.
I can't recall if it went to retail or not, but
Very cool.
From I've seen it's not too hard to get it aftermarket from other people. People are trying to get rid of, for whatever reason, get rid of the deluxe version, which is crazy to me.
That
But
is
yeah, we
crazy.
got the original, not the original. I don't even think this is the original one, but we got one of the older versions of the game, secondhand because it was out of print.
Yeah.
But this is, if you can get your hands on to, or you
So much
can
fun.
play it at a convention, it is worth it if you
It's
like.
so thematic. I just love it.
It is a great
great.
game. Great game.
But it's a beast.
It is a beast.
Tis a beast. Alrighty. So that was the magical greatness of Yeedo. So then we're on to my 67. This is another heavy hitter. Another one. This is one of the T games, as they call it. So Tawan Tinsuyu. I'm not really sure where the stress is. on that.
Tawana 10 Suyu.
No, you.
Tawana
added-
10 Suyu.
So you're adding extra vowels.
Tawan. Oh, there's no A there.
Tawan Tinsuyu.
Yeah. It is the Incan Empire.
It is cool. So this one, I'm looking to see where it play. Where's the play time? 60,
Hour-
60,
an
yeah,
hour to 2
60.
hours.
So yeah, it's a little over an hour for us right now, probably because we're still not super smooth with it. And there's a lot of great choices in this game. You've got this cool board, and it's got pentagon shaped, but it's tiered throughout, and there's different levels to the tiers that you can do different things. And as you're going with this, it's got so many elements to it. You got different colored meeples that do different kinds of action things. You need resource. Well, okay, hold up. Let me retract. So there's triangulated goods next to the stopping points where you're at as you go through the tiers. In fact, let me show you the board. This is so cool.
Yeah,
It's really hard to see on this one, but let me find the big. Do it. Just do it. Just do it. You know you want to do. Oh, what? You didn't dump the box. I hope y'all were sitting down. That was stunning. Oh, I forgot what a monster board this is. So you're going through, and you have these triangulated goods, and you get to pick which one. I think you pick 2 of the 3 or something like that you get to do. And depending on the level that you're at, also determines. See, look at this monster board. But you get to pick a bunch of different goods and different actions that you get to do. And the tiers, as you go up the tiers, you get to do higher level things, more difficult things, right? But you have to do certain actions to get up there. And there's a whole lot of different things on how the movement goes. As you can see on the side over there by Hunter, there's a whole track that you're going up to get points and things, obviously. But it's resource management, and you can go through and I love it because it's one of those games there as you're doing your worker placement stuff, you kind of get to roll and travel, but they're all good choices. It seems like this is the game of good choices and resource management, and you're doing different things to build up. And then you also have the whole thing, as you get higher and higher, you can start putting priests up here. This is the top tier. They have a special extra cardboard, kind of give it a little bit of height to it. So you have the priests in the top tier, and you can get mad victory points if you have a bunch of people up there, but that's hard to get. Is this a deluxe one, or is this what?
This is regular.
Is it regular? This is cool. Nice little wood bits for the corn, some of the resources. You know, you've got different resources. There's little steps that you can build to help you go up the levels. If you don't have the steps, you're not going to be able to go up onto the higher levels and do the cool stuff. So you kind of have to work your engine and build it up to the point where you're building these difficult things, can go up to the higher tiers, and that's where the real victory points start to happen. It's heavy and involved, little brown potato lumps. They're hilarious looking, but I mean, how easy would it be to bling these out too? I mean, they're actually kind of cute and fun to play with anyway. They're painted wood bits and stuff. Got little yellow gems. All these different, and it's again, a kind of pointy salad way of going about different things. There's all these, it's one of those things that almost overwhelms you with the different types of choices that you have. And I think that's why for us, it's still taking over an hour, because you sit there and you go, you need to think about your long game and your short game while you're making these choices, so you can actually accomplish some of these things. Because some of them, to get up to that top tier, for example, you've got to make sure you've got the resources to build the stairs. To be able to get there, you have to have enough workers. A lot of stuff to think about on that. Are you looking up something in particular that you just
perusing?
Okay. You just, I hope I'm not boring you.
No, what's the word that I always use wrong?
Perusing? Because perusing means you look through something thoroughly.
That's what I'm doing. I'm perusing.
Oh, you're actually looking through it thoroughly.
Yes.
You're not just flipping through casually. Interesting. Okay. So, anyway,
now
this is like one of the T games for a reason. It's one of those. So good.
It's just like the other T games. There's lots of different choices, lots of great choices. There tends to be different areas you can focus in. Like maybe she wants to do one thing and I'm focusing on another thing. And it's it's got a lot of spatial aspects, which a lot of the other T games don't necessarily have that. This one has
this is very
where
spatial.
where actions are firing off is important as compared to a lot of the other T games. You're just either going around a track and activating actions. This one has spatial aspects.
Yeah, where you are is going to give you the choices that you have.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a good one. We haven't played this one in a while. We played it a few times when it first came out, and then we haven't played it really.
Well, yeah, because we've been attacked with the other T games and stuff, and they're all really good. In fact, hint, hint, you're probably going to see some more of those higher up on my list.
I don't know what
too.
you're talking about.
Maybe, or is this my favorite? You don't know yet.
The Incan Empire. Taiwan Tinsuyu Dawatu.
Holy goodness.
Taiwan Tinsuyu.
Not Taiwan.
Taiwan.
Oh, I'm so sorry. All right. Onward to my number 66, which is another, I think it's kind of cool. I see like a theme. We're like exploring the Inca Empire. Now we're just going to explore lost ruins in general with my number 66, which is, in fact, the Lost Ruins of Odernak. Yes. Okay. This is a neat hybrid game where it's got like deck builder, worker placement, resource management, magical happy goodness.
Sounds like I want to play this game.
Yes, you do. I know you like this game. You're also working on going up a track that at first seems impossible. You're like, how in the world am I going to get up this track? Yeah, the first time we played,
we're not going to get anywhere on this track.
But we did. I ended up, at the first game.
It's got a smooth ramp up of resources.
Oh, it's amazing. You start, like you always like to say, you start with two sticks.
Banging two sticks together.
And the next thing you know, you have an empire. It feels like that. You start out and you start to build up and everything. And pretty soon you go and explore a new area and you fight a beast of some kind or something. And all of a sudden you get all these resources and you're like, wow, this is kind of a cool windfall. I'm going to go up this track a little bit and I'm going to go do this. And next thing you know, you've unlocked something else and you go somewhere and you get a bunch of goods and you start to chain a bunch of things and you're going up the track again. And this track obviously is unlocking more goods for you as you go. And it starts to, as you get higher and higher, some more victory points, which of course is what you want. Meanwhile, on the top part of the board, you've got 2 tiers of different cool things that you can buy, different goodies that'll help you get powers or extra resources or just some beautiful victory points. You're collecting all of this good stuff. Some of them help you with traveling because you have to travel. You can travel by car or by boat or by airplane to get to these different places. And they all have so different movement abilities and stuff. And some of the places are really difficult and far to get to, like, the Incan Empire might, you got to fly up into the mountains, right? Or, so it's got some special superpowers and different unique cards that you can play with. So you also want to do things that get you money so you can deal with buying all these cards, a whole chain of events here. It's not super heavy, but I would say it's a little more medium weight. It's medium heavy. But it plays pretty quickly. It says 30 minutes per player. And believe it or not, it doesn't feel like it, but it does play that pretty accurately, even though it feels almost overwhelming at first because there's so many choices. But you start with so little and you're like, well, how do I start? You're like, there's so much stuff I need to get. But then you pick a path and you go. And that's the neat thing too. There's a lot of unique paths that you can take. Last time you went and explored a lot of areas, and I hardly explored anything. I was chaining a bunch of different things and producing goods. And we had a close score. It wasn't like you destroyed me or anything like that. I don't even remember who won, to be honest. But it's pretty amazing. I love the versatility of this game. And I love the art. The art is fun. The theme is fun. Messing around with the cards. It has a hybrid of all these different mechanisms that are some of our absolute favorites. And so I can see why this got a lot of buzz and is still pretty popular. It's good. So I'm assuming that, yes, you do like this.
Oh, I love this game.
Is there something I forgot to mention that's got a fun quirk? No, you actually
covered it really well. The only thing I was to say, this game, it's one of those games, and there's many games that are like this. It's all about extending your turn, right?
Yes.
It's all about lengthening and extending your turn. So you only have a couple workers to work with. But it's like, okay, I get 2 things for doing this. I take those 2 things, I do this other thing over here that gives me 4 things. I take those 4 things, I do 2 things over here that gives me 6 things. And I go up the track 2 or 3 times. It gives me some more stuff. I'm gonna go over and do this, and you just keep extending your turn. And the longer you can, obviously, the longer you extend out your turn, the more things you can do. If you're not very efficient, you do use your couple workers, you get a couple items, and boom, your turn's over with. It's all about maximizing what you can do in your turn. And the early on, your turns are really short. You do a couple little things, get a few little things, but then towards the end is like you're doing these massive turns with all these different combos and creating goods and going up tracks and getting more stuff. And like she said, like early on when we first played this, we're gonna go up 2 spaces on this track, and by the end we were all the way at the top of the track. We're like, how did that happen? What how did that happen? It's awesome. I love games like that where it ramps up. A lot of games you just kind of have a slow little increase. This one like really ramps up with the card play and the going up the tracks and getting extra stuff. So I love it. It's one of my favorites.
A lot of fun.
The cool kids are doing the worker placement deck building combo. That's what the cool kids are doing these days.
Oh, and you know what? That's been a good marriage so far, because I'm telling you, I
want more. I love it. It's great.
This is a fantastic
I've always said I love deck builders where you're doing stuff on a board, and this one gives me deck building and worker placement and a board. Crazy.
I know. Absolutely out of control. So I'm beginning to think that I have a theme with
I know, like glancing over your list, it's like all like civilization, like ancient civilization games.
I know, because now I'm going to my 65 and we're going to a small little game. It's one of those, it's a big game in a little box, and that's Artifacts Inc. Yes, more artifacts. So this one is cards and some dice, and that's pretty much what you got, and some very boring looking little brown, well, depends on your player, but boring looking little cubes. But what you do with those cubes is amazing. So you take these cards and you have museums, different places that will buy artifacts of certain types that you happen to discover. And you're rolling the dice, and at the bottom of them, they've got these little cards. They're so cute. I don't know if I can make it so you can see them or not. See? Boring cubes. Oh, and in the middle, you can also dive. So you get artifacts of the land sort, and then you can also dive for cards. There's another thing here. But these little cards, and I'm looking here, and I'm thinking we probably won't be able to see them too well. Let's see. Oh no, it's not too bad. So you got the cards, and at the bottom they have like a little dice thing, and it says a 2, for example, plus a buy. So if I spend a 2 die, it has to be exactly a 2. Oh, a 2 plus, so a 2 or higher, then I can go and purchase another card. So that's my action. So you're like worker placement with your little dice. So it's dice placement, duh. But you do this, and then you can pay. There's money. You pay money, and you can upgrade. What? And now you can do that twice with 2 or higher dice.
Amazing.
What? So you have a bunch of cards like that. And of course, it's really fun because now not only do you have these cards, but you build a tableau with them. And what I put next to these, there's some specialty cards that you're going to go through and buy with all your mad loots from getting all these artifacts. You're going to go in and buy these buildings that say, well, I give you extra victory points if it's next to the headquarters or something like that. And you're like, ooh, I must have this. So you get all these things. Meanwhile, you can go, and if you have kind of some weird dice that aren't going to work placement wise to go sell things at your museum or purchase whatever, you can go dive and get artifacts that way, and you just stack those up. Those are just straight up victory points, and there are some cards that give you like set collections of different types of those dive bonuses at the end of the game. So it's like a little side thing you can do if your dice aren't, or you can just do it as a side thing because they get better and better as you go through it. There's a little bit of a side game with that. I just love the fact that you can upgrade the cards. You get to wheel and deal with the museums, which also, I didn't even mention this, they have an area control aspect to it, because these are your little cubes of your fossils and things that you're finding. So when you sell them, there's only a certain number of slots in each museum, and it's based off of like, did you sell one? Well, you go into one spot. There's very limited places, and you have to sell a certain amount of goods to them to get those spots. And at the end of the game, the person who has the majority is going to get some victory points from that museum. Oh my goodness, this is a lot of game. Again, most boring dice in the world, but you don't care. because the game is, there's so much game in this tiny little box. I absolutely love it. It can be a little bit of a table hog. You would never guess that again looking at this box, because you want to spread out your tableaus and your museums and everything. And then you've got your own little personal tableau that you're making with the cards that you purchase. So everybody needs to have their own space. So this is not a coffee shop kind of game, but this is a nice little meaty game that's really easy to travel with. And as you can see, you probably could take all of this and put it in a smaller, almost put it in a smaller container.
Other than the rule book.
Other than the rule book and the little diving mat, which you don't necessarily need that as a scoreboard too. So I love Artifacts Inc. I also have an extra little nostalgia bit to it too.
I was about to mention that.
Because
I'm like, how much of this rating is the nostalgia factor?
honestly, I'll not really play too much into that. I really love this game. This was the first game that we got to play with Sam and Z together.
First game with Sam.
It was our first game with Sam ever, period. And just the first game just to get to hang out and chat with them. So it was a lot of fun for that aspect. But just the more we play it, the more I'm like, I really love this
I love
game.
how we just say Sam, like everyone knows who Sam is.
Okay, Sam Healy, he used to be on the Dice Tower. Z Garcia on the Dice Tower. I was gonna say there's our name dropping, but it was just super
Yeah, but we were
fun.
total geeking out
Yeah, we were like,
fanatics, literally fanatics.
yep,
And
it was super fun.
and this is like a hidden gem. This is like an old Ryan Lockett game. A lot of people know all of his
I forget that it's a Ryan Lockett
big
game.
heavy hitters,
Yeah,
Sleeping
'cause
Gods and Near and Far and all of that stuff. But this is like one of, I don't know if it's
Yeah.
his first game, but it's one of his earlier games that kind of went under the radar ish.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. It's got his cool like scenery art to it. It's real subtle though. It's not his usual, more splashier art, but it's real pretty, and it's a solid game. It's probably one of my favorite games of his, to be completely honest. I absolutely love this game.
It's not one of my favorite games. Well,
No, of his. I'm saying of Ryan
no,
Lockett's.
his.
Oh, really? You like? Oh, yeah. Okay.
There's other ones. that
Yes,
like
I know.
better.
I know.
Other ones. One.
How mysterious.
Anyway, yeah, this is a good
Hunter's
one.
second favorite
This
game.
was also, I think this may have been our first review we did for the Dice Tower.
That might have been. So a lot of little nostalgic bits, but it's just there's a reason for it. I love playing it. Super fun. Love the Artifacts Inc. All right, so let's move on to my number 64. Not quite ancient, but older. I think it's Age of Discovery time period here. And we are going to move on to Coimbra. Hey, look at you. Almost trilling.
No, I'm
just
just
kidding.
I'm
He's
just
just being
doing
a
that.
I know. This game has so much going on in it. It's got a beautiful map. I love the colors of the map and everything. It's real bright and engaging. And then you've got several layers to this board. You got chunks on the board. So one end, you've got a whole round that you're going to do where you draft a bunch of dice and then you have to use them to like kind of, it's not really bid, but yeah, kind of bidding for it is bidding for the first place to get the first chance at a whole stretch of cards. And they're in like 4 or 5 different levels that you can go through, because there's like some cool actions you can do. And then there's like the
3 rows of cards.
3 rows of cards.
Yep.
Yeah. And so you get these different cards and they have all sorts of benefits on them. They help you go with what's on the other end of the board over there, where there's a whole bunch of different tracks that you can go up. And some of them give you extra movement along what's going to be in the middle board for moving on a map, or there's victory points, or there's perks for different things, right, to help you with your money, which there's 2 different types of currency that you need. So you want to get up all these tracks and just rock all of that. Then in the middle, you've got this crazy awesome map. And you want to go through and put your little chips down. You want to go through and travel and visit all the cities you possibly can, because as you get those, you get perks out of each city. So you put your little disc down and it might give you extra movement or something like that. All of them have neat little perks. So you want to go and travel a lot. Meanwhile, you've got all these cards that are giving you victory points and whatnot and helping you go up these charts, which again help you towards winning the game. And on the very bottom of the board, using those 2 types of currencies, you're going to try to pay for a whole bunch of victory point conditions. So if you're doing really well and you traveled and you've reached a certain number of cities, there's a victory point for that. You get certain victory point cards for that. You don't score those victory points unless you put your little disc down there. So you have to go find a way to buy those. Whew, there's so much going on in this. There's so much, but it's just beautiful, colorful Coimbra. You get to play with your dice. We're rolling dice and messing with dice. I get all these cool cards that have all these things. We both love messing with tracks and going up tracks and traveling around on maps. It's got a lot going on, but it's surprisingly smooth for all of that. Everything kind of has a flow to it. And every time you play it, you pick up the rules that much faster. I don't feel like you'd ever have to give me a complete reteach of this again because of that, because it's easy to pick back up. It makes sense how the game goes.
Yeah, basically it has like your player board has like stages A, B, C, D, and E, and it based on those they do different things. But what I like most about it is that it's almost I don't know how to think of it as it's a budgeting game almost in a way. You have those two currencies, and you need to budget out your money to be able to do all the things you want to do. And you only get to opt into so many of those achievement cards, which are a lot of victory points. And you have to basically go, okay, I got to do all this stuff, but I need to leave enough money to opt into one of those achievement cards. Like I said, you only get so many chances to do that, to opt into those. The tracks, there's lots of different. You can get. I'm gonna go crazy, get lots of gold, or I'm gonna get lots of the shield currency, or I'm gonna get movement, or I'm gonna get. There's different.
I think it's straight victory points. For the other one,
there's one straight victory points. It's really got a lot going on, but like you said, the play is really smooth and it has a flow to it. Basically, you do the dice, you do this, you do that, you get cards, you activate the cards in certain order and things like that. It's a great one, and it's got a really unique art, and I like the art in it.
I do too, a lot.
It's got the same art as Alma Mater. You may be thinking about that.
Oh, okay.
Maybe talking about that a little bit later. I don't know, but it's a really neat little Euro game. If you like dice drafting and card using cards for various things, it's a cool one.
Yeah,
good one.
And this one's again, it's not super heavy, but it's medium heavy, and it plays long. I'm going to say it's like an hour and a half game. Yep. I think it says 75. It starts 75 minutes, but I think it's a little more than that, especially first
based on
play.
Number of players. It's shorter, obviously, the more players. Less players you have.
Yeah, but there's so many choices and so much going on as you're fighting to get these cards and stuff that I feel like it takes a little bit longer than they probably say.
And based on the number of players, I think if you have less than the max players, you're putting, I wouldn't say dummy players, but you're putting little blockers.
Oh, that's right. It limits a couple things, doesn't it?
If you go to the spot, basically you put a 6 here, you get to go first, right?
Yeah,
but there may be like a 4 and a 2 already there that are NPCs, and they basically they draft some of the cards away from you. So you have to kind of go, okay, there's a 4 there. Yeah. I need to put a 5 to be sure to get this card I want, right?
Yeah, because the way that the dummy player takes cards, there's a very
it's
methodical. It's a programmed
it's very
thing.
Programmed
so you know what card they're going to take, and it's like, sometimes it's just brutal. Yeah. So
but it works well. It works well.
A lot
of
good
well at
stuff.
all the player counts. So.
Yes, it does for sure. But that's Coimbra. My number 63. Okay, we're gonna actually get away from the ancient things and go into fantasy land here for a little while.
Well, that's kind of ancient, right?
Ancient fantasy?
Oh wow! Call me shocked.
Yeah.
You know why I'm shocked?
Why?
Do you like this better than the space one?
Yes.
That's crazy.
I know. I usually love the space ones, but for whatever reason, I love the original Clank the best. I think it's the least. The space one has a little more complication to it, and I like the freer movement that this one has, because you have to either transport or find a special way to get out of the space one. In this one, you just delve down into your dungeon and you run the heck back up as fast as you can. There's not a lot of weird things going on with how you move where and stuff. And
I thought you love the little cards.
I do. Game. I love that, but the gameplay overall, I like this one a tad better. And this is a deck builder adventure game, and it is a blasty blast. You're building up and you have equipment and weaponry and stuff to help you go sneak down into this dungeon and steal a bunch of treasure without waking up the dragon. Problem is, the better your equipment is, the louder the noises are that you make, because you're starting to wear some clanky armor and stuff, so you make clank, you make noises, and then you put out these cubes. You don't want to mess with the cubes. You don't want to see the cubes. You don't want to be messing with the cubes. That means you have a chance of waking up the dragon. And when that happens, bad things happen and the game is going to end very quickly and you don't have a chance to escape. So the best thing to do you decide to get crazy and go all the way down to the bottom where all the really expensive victory points are, like some people do, but you really risk the chance of never making it back to the top? Or do you go for something in between or a little bit and sneak back up to the top before anybody realizes what's happening, and hopefully they can't get out in time? Because, of course, if everybody makes it out, then it's whoever's got the best treasures, of course, is going to win the game. So you're a lot of press your luck going on. You're playing the long game here. Do you want to do that? You have to worry about beating everybody else out and making it out alive, and or not waking up the dragon. So there's all this stuff going on. Meanwhile, you're building your deck and you're buying a bunch of other stuff to get going with that. And it's so much fun. I love it. It's just super fun game. And it's fast, 30 to 60 minutes. Love it. Absolutely love it. It's another one that it plays at a shorter time frame, but it feels like it's longer because it's got so much
the
going on.
playtime is very variable. It's based on how the players play. If they're all diving down deep in the dungeon,
it's going to take 60
no one's
minutes,
leaving, it's going to take longer. If you have someone that does the snatch and grab, they go in and grab a low-level
30 minutes,
artifact and run out, then it plays really fast. It's kind of the players kind of dictate how long the game's going to be in a way.
Yeah. And the whole cube thing's fun because you get wounded or you can like wake up the dragon more, and as he wakes up in stages, things happen.
He gets more and more
dangerous. And it gets more dangerous. Yeah. And it's just, I love that it gives you that level of intensity that I just really enjoy that, because you're just, he's almost awake and you're so scared to make any noise, and you know you've got really good stuff in your deck and you're like, please don't come up. Let's go throw more cubes out there.
Yeah.
Cubes of Clank.
I think I'm shocked. I thought for sure you liked the space one better.
No, I actually like the regular one.
Which one did you? Which one?
Better.
I'm gonna steal your sheet.
Yeah.
Because did you like the space one better last year?
Mm-mm.
No?
Mm-mm.
You sure?
Yeah. I've
always liked the space one better.
Yeah, I know you have, and I've always liked the fantasy one.
Yeah, sure. You had them back to back.
I had them back to back the year before, and I liked this one a little bit more. And
they've spread further apart.
Yeah, I just I think we played Clank in Space again. We haven't played this one in a while.
Yeah.
And I just remember
because I like Space in Space better.
Yeah, and it's a little. I just feel like some of the
fiddly.
It's a little fiddly. That's what it is with the different doorways and
I just
the
like
different
it 'cause
rooms.
there's more going on, and you can't have the snatch and grab. I'm not a fan of the snatch and grab.
Yeah, but you are, because you've done that before.
No, I tend to be going all the way to the bottom and grab the big 30-pointer or whatever it is.
To be, but you have done that. You did it once,
just to try it out. Just to
see
what happened. But normally. I go all the way to the bottom. I grab the best artifact. I go shopping. I do some set collection. I'm just goofing around.
And then the dragon wakes up. And he's like, yeah.
In the other game, I can get away with it a little bit more because you can't do the snatch and grab and run out.
That's true. Because you get locked out of being able to go back quickly without unlocking a bunch of stuff, right? No, that's pretty funny. So now that's my number 63, Clank, a deck building adventure game.
Oh, no one knows the
I know that has the title this long.
Are you guys fan of subtitles in games? Just like Taiwan Tensu, the Incan Empire, and Clank, the deck building game, and I don't know what else. We look back here.
They have a bunch of them. Yes, there's
1846, the race for the Midwest. No one says 1846, the race for the Midwest.
Bring forth the soapbox. Oh my goodness. So yes, now moving on to my number 62. We're going back to historical things.
Oh my gosh, this is like I'm in a history class.
I know, right? Except this one's historical fiction.
Oh.
And that would be The Pillars of the Earth.
Fictional history?
Historical fiction. So, this is based off of a book. Don't worry, you don't need to read the book at all. It has
I haven't read
very
the book.
little to do with the book. The book actually is kind of depressing. Don't necessarily recommend it unless you're into that kind of genre in particular. And in which case, it's really good. But this board game is awesome. This is one of our this is a game that Hunter hunted down when it was crazy out of print And then they ended up reprinting it. And we were like, oh, man. But
that was years later.
It was years later. And we were actually very happy that we got this one because we got those years to play this game.
Right.
It's worker placement at its heart. But it's got a couple different things going on with it. You've got these little meeples that you use, large and small. They're different, like, numbers of people together, I guess.
Right.
And
meeple currency.
Meeple currency. That's a great way to look at it. So you're workers and you go out and you get a bunch of like wood and stone and all these building materials and stuff. So you have your resource management. You have to think kind of long term because you're going to use that. You get it at the very beginning and you're going to spread it out throughout the rest of the round. So you have that. And then you have this cool like bidding thing for turn order again. I talked about that earlier with another game. And so it's got a really cool little system for that. The board is fantastic. It's got gorgeous art and everything, and then it's numbered, and it's got the order on it of how things are going to fire off. You do everything in numerical order. But we would do the worker placement first, and you place, and you get to do things. You can get some cards. You're going to get buildings because you're doing an engine builder with this, and you want to use those goods, and you're going to produce things that give you victory points and whatnot. Very cool.
Back in the day when they made reasonable sized boards.
Yeah, it's so games. Funny.
It's not like...
And we thought that was fairly large when we first got it. Oh, the days. But look at that. It's a gorgeous board. And it's so useful. I mean, the art is not confusing. Like, this is the actual gravel pit. And they drew people working in a gravel pit here. And you can see that it's number 8. So it kind of trails around here and goes up. And so you have, like, taxes and stuff. And you can do things to avoid the taxes or mitigate them a little bit. There's trading and different resource management to get resources maybe you weren't able to get to buy things and sell things because you need money, of course. It's just there's worker cards. You only get a certain number of cards in your tableau for building purposes. So as they get better and more efficient, you're going to trade them out. So you want to keep an eye out for those cards that give you those. And there's superpower cards that might give you all like almost like game breaker kind of stuff. And it's such a smooth game. It's beautiful. And at the end of your turn, it's got this cheesy little thing where you show what round it is by putting a piece of the cathedral up. And once the cathedral is completely built, the game is over and you're done with your rounds. How cute. It's a cute little marker, semi-thematic way to like bring about everything. Because of course the whole point of this is to build the cathedral. I don't know. There's just so much going on with this. And it's an older worker placement game. I don't know that it like broke the world with any innovations or anything necessarily, but it's just got a great combination of things with these different cards that the manufacturing cards that get better, they're more efficient and they do more with less, that you upgrade as you go, the fighting for turn order to get the cool places first. Oh, I just, using your little meeple, what'd you call it? Meeple currency?
Meeple currency.
Meeple currency at the beginning to get all your goods you need. And then you're like mathing out, okay, I need to use all this and I can run my little engines and they all kind of fire off. And so much fun. I really enjoy playing this because it's like worker placement plus.
Yeah, it's a perennial favorite. I mean, we keep getting these cool new games and we like keep coming back to this one because it's just so good. It plays so well. It's so smooth. It's so interesting. It packs so much punch without like a lot of bells and whistles, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, there's only a handful of cards you're drafting from that you can buy throughout the game. There's not like it adds new worker placement spots and grows and changes and stuff. No, it's just more efficient. It's a really solid, smooth design that looks great, that is functional, that is easy to go back to. It doesn't require a big massive teach every time we play.
No, I think you could probably tell me in like 2 minutes anything I forgot on how to play that. It's just so easy to remember.
It's just really good. So if you can get your hands on, I don't know how available the new version of this is. It's getting to be a little old itself, several years old now. But it's if you like worker placement games, you owe it to yourself to at least try this one because it is really good. Really good. Mm-hmm. It's a longer one. It's hour, half, 2 hour kind of game.
Yeah, it is. It's a little heavier.
But it's got a good build up. It's smooth. Like you said, that you have your crappy workers and at first, and then you get better and better and better and grow and grow and grow, and you're making all these bigger and better resources and getting tons of victory points.
So good.
But you're basically cranking out resources that crank out victory points, and you're just it's great. It's really fun.
Yeah, because you just feel like you're getting better and more efficient, and to watch the resources that you got at the beginning of the turn morph into all these things and victory points at the
Right.
end, right? It just feels really good, and it's just smooth play. I can't get over how smooth it is. I think that's what's neat about it. So there you go. The Pillars of the Earth. An excellent, excellent game. That is my 62. And my last one for today, my number 61, is not a historical game about artifacts, but it might ask you when those artifacts were created or discovered in Timeline Challenge. Oh my goodness. This is a little game show in a box. I love it. So if you've ever seen, they have these little tins, not very big, called Timeline, and it's a little cute game, and everybody gets like 5 cards, and you're taking turns building a timeline, and if you get it correct, you get to keep your card. If you got it wrong, you take that card out of play and draw a new one, and the first person to put all their cards in there wins the game. Simple game. This takes those decks, and you can actually just add them into this, which is what we did. All of our decks are in here now. And it makes a board game out of it. So now we've got these mini games, and you've got a track that you go along. So you get to move ahead every time you win. And it's so fun. You've got one where it's like a little mini game of, here's 4 cards, put them in order. Which one came first, second, third, fourth, you know. There's another one where it's like, here's 2 cards. How many years apart were these events? And whoever's the closest, they get to move ahead on the board. And then it has like a couple spots on the board where after you pass them, you have like a little mini battle. And it's slightly a catch-up mechanism for people if there's anybody that's really far behind. But it also can reward people if they're, you know, ahead and actually win and stuff like that. It's really cool. It's got all these little mini game things. It's got these fun little cardboard dials that you use to put down the dates and whatnot. And oh darn, you know, you might learn something along the way. It's kind of fun. I love that those games that, you know, you just learn all sorts of cool, interesting tidbits of information. We have the cards that come with Timeline Challenge in here, but we also have like the scientific inventions one and the Americana and gosh, we have like 4 decks in here. I can't remember now.
I think we have 5 decks in here, and
Is it?
I'm afraid to open it.
It may be bad.
I am going to open it.
Okay, this will be exciting.
But if messed up, disorganized board
Trigger
game,
warning. Trigger warning.
do something that make you like cringe.
Don't look.
You might want to look away.
Trigger warning. Oh, not so bad. Only slightly. Oh, well. Huh. This is why it's okay to mix them, because they're thoroughly mixed now.
You know what? I wonder why I haven't
thrown that thing out and bagged
thrown this insert away.
That's a great question. So the cards, they're little, but they're real simple. So what it has a little picture, which can or cannot be kind of misleading sometimes. They're not very helpful often. But like this one, it says the invention of the plus and minus signs. Well, if you flip it, it's going to...
I'm going to say 300 BC.
No.
What is it?
1489.
What? They didn't invent the plus and minus sign until 1489?
Apparently.
What have they been doing all their life?
Adding them without the plus and minus sign?
How do you know? Anyway.
I don't know. You're asking me. I still, it blows my mind to think that like the Romans didn't have the concept of zero. Like, it just, anyway. So we're getting off on a tangent, a fun little trivia tangent, but you flip the card over and it has the answer here with this. So you just keep them face up and then there you go. And you flip them and have the answers. So it's really easy to hold it up for everybody to see or lay it on the table, and there's no giving it away unless you flip the card over.
I'm going to get Rebecca in trouble.
Why?
I'm going to ask you a trivia question.
Oh, snap.
And if you don't answer it.
If I don't answer it.
I'm going to.
Oh, geez.
I'm going
You're going to put me on the spot.
I am going to put you on the spot.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
The Star Trek series airs for the first time. I don't think I can answer this, so I can't give her too much crap. I know approximately when it happened.
So beginner end 69.
Nope. 66. Turn in your.
Darn it!
Turn in your.
Darn it!
Turn in your.
That's when it ended, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think that's when it ended. I couldn't remember. I was like, it's when it ended, I think. Dang it! I knew some of that. I just had it backwards. So terrible. I should have done the math. I'm an idiot. I should have done the math. I know.
I think I'm going to.
I know it was like anniversary.
Wait, this insert when no one's looking, because this is horrible.
Oh, I'll watch. I don't care. Yeah, I mean the cards are just messed. But again, here I can show you I'll give you a little bonus. So here's the dial, and you just go through and it's got the little emblems because you need to know the shapes. Like they lay it out and they're like, which one came first? And then they have it under a star and a square and stuff. And then you put, well, the star was second, I think. And then the square was fourth, you know. And so you put that and then you check it against the real answer. And so that way you can make your answer, put it down, and wait for everybody else, and just and they've got a little dial over here for a plus and minus if you do BC and AD or BCE and CE, depending on which measurement system you like to use, and date system, really. Anyway, it's really fun. If you like trivia, you like learning cool random stuff, and you want to make a little bit more gamey, board gamey element to it, this is a lot of fun. We've played it with a variety of different people, gamers, non-gamers, and have always had a really fun time with it. It's pretty engaging, and it's fun to see where everybody's I always call it their specialties lie, what they're interested in and what trivia they know. It's always a lot of fun to kind of like, you know, compete against each other and know who's doing well with what subjects and whatnot. So if you enjoy that sort of thing, definitely check out Timeline Challenge. Is this thing even easy to find anymore, or is this
I have no idea what its print status is. I do know that it works for. I mean, it takes Timeline, and I mean, Timeline's a great little kind of filler game that you can bang out pretty quick. But this one makes it more of a real board game, and it's interesting to see the moving of the pieces. You're like, because in Timeline it's like kind of abrupt, like you just finished. This one's like you're going around a track. You're like, oh gosh, I'm catching up, and this person's falling behind.
There's
and blah, blah.
so much intensity with that, right? And it's so fun. It's so competitive.
This is kind of one of our go-to internet play games, like that we play with the internet.
We haven't done that in a while. We should.
It
play
works
that
really
with
well because we just you know, depict the mini game, and then we show the card, and the internet just does some guesses, and then the person competing against them does guesses. And they go on the track just like everything else. It plays like a large number of players, but then it's basically it's 2 to 5, but you can team up and get it from basically, you know, up to 10 if you do teams of 2.
Well, and honestly, I think this is one of those games that you could build, big giant teams. You could play with a huge group of people and kind of like they do with Wits and Wagers at the Dice Tower and stuff like that, easily with this, and still have that fun engagement. So it's just the team that have to decide.
Little tokens to keep track of everyone's score.
Good enough. It's easy to do.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
It's a really fun one. That is my number 61. So next time, 60 through 51. That is
the best of the worst.
That's right. As you always love to call it, the best
of the worst.
Like these aren't amazing games already. Such trouble.
Best of the worst.
Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Click subscribe to join our wonderful viewer community.
Want to be notified when we upload a new video or go live? Click on the little bell below.